Greenleaf update. I'm Dave Codre, and today we're going to talk a little bit about our Columbia Flex investments, and we're going to talk about who is actually leasing space right now. That's a common question we get when we're out there saying, hey, we're seeing occupancy gains. People want to know, who are you leasing to? So let's look at Columbia Flex as a whole. We purchased this deal about 12 months ago. It's 112,000 square feet. It's spread out across a few buildings in the Columbia, South Carolina area, and we purchased it at a really good basis. We knew we had a lot of capex work going in, and it was only 80% occupied at acquisition. So 12 months later, we are now 92% occupied. That is what our target was. So we've hit kind of our stabilization point of what we were looking at. Our revenue is a little above plan right now, so we are, overall, we're in good shape. We're really excited with where that is. But let's look at who's signing leases. So I said we're 92% occupancy. We've added about 12% occupancy over the past year. Now, in that space, some of these leases, they all have a few things in common. First off, everything is between 1,000 and 3,000 square feet. That's the size of all of the tenants that are in this complex, and that's really what we target on the flex side. The people that have also leased space, they typically are in an expansion mode. They have between 4, 6, or 7 locations already, and they're adding another spot to their company. And many of them are operating not only in Columbia, South Carolina, but they're operating in other cities and other states. So on average, they're in 2 to 3 other states. The other part is they're all focused on consumer services. So they are coming out to a location that's typically residential and providing a service. We've signed leases with pest control companies that are quasi-national, running from Texas over to South Carolina. We've signed with window installers. We have signed with cable installers. There's a group going out and installing cable services and internet throughout homes and businesses alike. Window installers, a lawn care provider, and one of the ones we had was a barbecue company. I mean, they distribute barbecue spices and everything nationally, and this is their office for that national distribution. So a good number of leases that make up that addition to space that we've said. Overall, 92% occupied. Our average lease term, which we call our WALT, weighted average lease term, is 16 months. So that means if we take each tenant, divide up the amount of square footage they take and the length of that lease, that leaves us with about 16 months on average per square foot. So that's where we're at leasing-wise. Now, one of the things bringing that number down is our number of month-to-month leases. 25% of this complex is leased month-to-month. However, those 25% of leases, roughly 25,000 square feet, average tenure is 60 months. So they've been here a while. And one of the things we are working on doing is converting month-to-month to 1, 2, 3-year leases. But if something's not broken, we're not trying to fix that. So we are working on the longer-term leases, but it's not something we're pushing hard on tenants right now. Another big part of this project was capital improvements. So we had about $15 a square foot targeted for improvements throughout the site. And again, we made this assessment about 15 months ago when we were going through our due diligence process. Costs were a little bit higher then. We also had a lot of unknowns, so we had a much higher contingency plan going on with this property, and therefore, our budgeted capex was higher than what we're currently seeing right now. We're coming in at about 30% below our estimated costs, and we really haven't had to use any of our contingency dollars yet. This capex, we could break it into 2 parts. We really have our exterior work and our interior work. On the outside, we did a lot of work to open up sight lines to the buildings. We removed a lot of kind of overgrowth and random landscaping. We hardscaped those areas so they're easy to maintain. They look clean, and you can easily see the buildings. We are putting new signage on all the buildings. So imagine you're a delivery driver or you're a truck coming in. You're able to go see, where do I have to go? Where do I need to be? That makes it a lot easier. The other big part of what we're doing is curbing. So we think about curbing and pavement, and while they may not seem like that much, every time you don't have a curb and trucks drive over the edge of a road, it cracks the pavement, creates big potholes along the sides. It's unattractive, and everything gets muddy. No one really likes that. So we spent a lot of time and effort to recurb things and also repave a lot of areas that had turned into more like a mogul field as opposed to a paved road that trucks are going down. So that took a good amount of time. Now that has come in around 20% below estimated cost. And we had almost $500,000 allocated across multiple parking lots to make these repairs. We're coming under that budget number right now. We are almost done. I have some pictures of what this curbing and what this pavement stuff looks like. It is a big number that we spent, but it does make the property a lot more functional. The last part we have is really on interiors. So tenants that are 1 to 3,000 square feet, they are looking to move in now, or really yesterday. They want a space that's ready. This is the South, so you got to have HVAC systems. You got to have proper mechanicals to have a space be usable. The bulk of what we went in and said was, hey, we're probably going to have to swap out a good number of all the HVAC systems we have to be able to handle actually using them, actually having occupancy, being here and working. We've replaced a good amount of them, but nowhere near the targeted amount that we've expected so far. And we are 92% occupied, so we don't have a whole lot left to go. We have about 12,000 square feet that we plan to do the HVACs in, and we'll get those cleaned up so that they are ready and move in. Any funds that we don't use throughout this process, right now we have bank financing. We have a loan at 4.95%. It's fixed through 2027. So if we do not have other spend, we simply won't draw up that loan. We have excess capital. As always, we would return that. Right now, distribution-wise, we are meeting our goals. We're making our quarterly distributions, and we see that continuing for the future. Thanks for listening. I hope this update on our Columbia Flex deals was helpful. We feel like we're in a very good position long-term here, and we're excited to make continued distributions. Thanks.